Hi, I'm John Kursky, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to inspect TMDL code from the internet before you bring it into your own environment. Now, in our last video, I showed you how to scan TMDL code using the new TMDL View feature in Power BI Desktop. Now, since TMDL was introduced, or TMDL View was introduced in Power BI Desktop in January of 2025, there has been a lot of social media posts and sites created to share TMDL code so that you can create things like calendar dimensions without reinventing the wheel and creating the code yourself. But if you plan on bringing TMDL code into your own environment and updating your model or creating a new model, you should consider that code untrusted. And I'm going to show you how with Power Query Lint, you can at least inspect and understand what that external code is doing before you bring it into your own environment. Now let's take a look. Now up on the screen, I have a blank Power BI desktop file. And there are two things that you can do to mitigate the risk that the TMDL code that you bring in from the outside may act inappropriately in your environment. And the first is under the security settings, see if I can zoom in here, you'll want to check this box, native database queries, if you haven't already. This will prompt you if some R scripts, Python scripts, or SQL scripts that have embedded SQL is executing, will prompt you for approval before you execute that, which is really important. The other thing you'll want to do is go to the privacy setting and make sure you set it to the most restrictive. Now, a lot of the times with folks working within their own environment, if they're combining data from SharePoint and maybe OneDrive and another source, they'll turn it to always ignore privacy level settings. Well, when we're bringing in that TMDL code from the outside, we want to make sure that if, let's say, that code could be accessing a file locally and trying to push that out to the internet, you would understand that you're going to get a prompt that that's going to occur. When you have your setting at the least restrictive, it will not prompt you that that's happening. So just to be sure, if you're going to bring external TMDL code from the outside, those two settings are good mitigation strategies to check to see if that code is valid or has anything inappropriate before you apply it to your model or a new model. Now, the other thing you can do is leverage Power Query Lint, the free version, to inspect and understand some of the functions that might be embedded in that TMDL code. What I've seen out on the internet, you can have very long TMDL code, so you might not understand every aspect, or certain features or functionality might be embedded in other functions that you may have missed. So let me show you as an example. So I'm going to go to a GitHub page that I've pasted some notional TMDL code. I'm not going to call out any sites. This is just one that I've created after seeing one in an environment. I've made some updates just to show it as a demonstration. So what I will do is I'll copy this TMDL code. I'll go to Power Query Lint, and I will click on the Scan TMDL Code function and then paste in that code. Now, once it's done its analysis, you'll see on the right here, we identify certain features that may be of concern. Some of them could be benign and just something that might inadvertently update your model. Others are, hey, you probably need to inspect this code further. The first one is if the model definition or the TMDL actually says, hey, update the model, it could overwrite your code that you already have. So just be aware that you might want to remove the model component in that definition. You also maybe want to check the fast combine. If the data access options are identifying that as an update, it is going to update your model to the least restrictive privacy settings. that should be a clue that you might want to remove that just to make sure that you understand how data is being combined using this new TMDL script. You can also take a look at if the folder.files function is being called. Maybe you didn't expect that function to go and try to look at the files on your local drive. This will identify that. You can also see if web.contents is being called. So if it's making a call to a website, you can see that as well and kind of understand, should I trust this script? Do I really know if it's making external calls? What is it doing? The other thing you can do with the scan is I'm going to go ahead and copy another TMDL script. And I'm going to click top, clear, and paste. And I'm going to lint this code. And this actually will highlight any database connection. So if you're in an environment where you are going to use this TMDL script to maybe accelerate some of your SQL data polls or leverage query folding, this will highlight any of those database calls, including if it has a query script in it. You might want to inspect what that hard-coded query is. Is it dropping a table? Is it trying to update a permission? Is it trying to access files that you would normally not want to access by default in that environment? So with this version of Power Query Lint Pro, the Scan TMDL feature can give you at least more insight into what that code is going to do before you bring it into your own environment. Now, I recommend leveraging Power Query Lint with the Scan TMDL feature before you bring an environment, but also remember to turn on that security feature and go to the most restrictive version of the privacy setting before bringing in that TMDL code, just to cover your bases and mitigate the risk that that code's going to execute updates inappropriately without your knowledge. So I hope you learned something today. Try Power Query Lint, both for the linting feature, but also the scanning feature. And stay tuned for more videos. Please subscribe. Thank you.